All right, we are 10 days or so into the Stanley Cup playoffs. There have been some actually really exciting series, but province sports readers are not convinced that the NHL playoffs are for them when the Canucks are not in it. Paul, what can you tell us about a poll you put in a morning skate?
Well, it's not just province readers, Jonathan. I think, the numbers have come out that it's 61% across Canada. The ratings are down for Sportsnet. Part of that's just the really horrid, crappy quality of the broadcasts that we're getting from them. But yeah, there's no hometown team there to get behind. The numbers are pretty disturbing for an NHL fan. I think that 47% say that they are mildly interested in the playoffs. 45% say, mildly interested and will pay more attention as it goes on. 45% say it's boring and they're not paying attention at all. So, I don't know if it's an emotional investment, teams they can't get behind. Again, in our podcast, Ed and I were talking this morning that, it used to be a huge deal. You would never see the number 1 seed get taken out by an 8 seed. And of course, the LA Kings famously won the Stanley Cup as an 8 seed. But would it shock anyone if Nashville beat Anaheim? I think when you look at these matchups, they're all very closely matched. There's a lot of parity. In the Anaheim-Nashville series, the road team has won all 4 games. Like Chicago on the brink, defending Cup champions, they have staved off elimination because it is staving season after all. And we've got LA, who are, the other recent Cup winners who are in a little bit of trouble as well. But none of these come off as a surprise. There's great parity there, and we should go into every game going, wow, I wonder what's going to happen here, but that's not translating with viewers.
Okay, well, Paul's saying that nearly 50% of sports fans are saying that the playoffs are boring. Ed, I haven't watched a lot of the playoffs, but when I watch 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, it seems anything but boring. Doesn't mean there aren't boring moments. But the funny thing, what stands out for me is it's everything that you didn't get in the Canucks season. So what are these people talking about? What's so boring about it?
Well, yeah, it's a great question, and if I'm the NHL, I'm really, really concerned about this because the first round is the marquee event of their season.
It's amazing.
It's by far the most interesting hockey, the best matchups. The players are fresh. They haven't been beaten down. So, they are just going out balls to the wall in this first round, and you're right, they've been terrific. San Jose, LA is captivating. St. Louis, Chicago, wonderful, wonderful series. Not so much, it hasn't really been identified in the East, but from where I've seen, it's not what it was 2 years ago when they had those incredible collection of first rounds, but it's still pretty compelling stuff. So again, I think it's a matter of just the way this is being perceived, and there is like this perfect storm brewing against Sportsnet right now. No Canadian franchises, as Paul said, crummy quality broadcasts. They've got these homer crews doing some of the games, which is really an insult to a serious hockey fan listening to this. So this is not good for the NHL to have its marquee event being perceived this way.
Jonathan, maybe you can answer your own question. You sat there and you said, you'll catch 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's anything but boring. But why aren't you watching for more than 10 minutes?
Okay.
And that's not a shot. It's
no.
Like, why are you not
coming later?
No.
Yeah.
There's lots of those coming later. But I'm just wondering why you're not compelled to stay and watch a whole game if you're entertained by it.
And that was going to be my next question for you, which is something you and I talk about a lot, which is that ultimately we can't speak for every Canadian market, but in this market, are they NHL fans or are they Vancouver Canucks fans?
Again, that's another poll I put in the morning skate this morning. 3 choices. Is this a hockey town, a Canuck town, or a bandwagon town? More than 60% right now are saying this is a bandwagon town.
Right. Okay, so why do I watch 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Because the home team's not in it. Like, I don't have the same emotional investment.
That's right, the Oilers aren't playing either.
I don't have the same emotional investment, and yet when I watch, I think to myself, wow, a lot of these series have, the present of the NHL, the future of the NHL playing. It's not necessarily what you're seeing playing at Rogers Arena night after night through the winter. Like, we're being exposed now to some hockey that we actually didn't get to see during the season. That's been one of the great treats. But to me, yeah, I would say this is a Canucks town first, maybe a bandwagon town first, as we saw in 2011, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It hasn't been quite so, it's not quite so bandwagon when your team is 28th, but still the interest is greater than when the playoffs come along.